So this is Kev, the first member of the team. Hi, Kev.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you very much. Same for you.
Big night ahead of us on Friday.
Really looking forward to it. I mean, I'm excited already. I can't wait. I've been there before. I know what to expect, but expect the unexpected.
Yeah, well, tell us what sort of things can we expect then?
You can expect noises, breaths, shadows, things that go bump in the night, you know. You can expect people jumping, you know. Some people, you might not get something, but the person standing next to you, they might get something. You can hear something down the hall, and there's nobody there. So, and also you can explain your own experiences with other people, like-minded people like yourself.
Yeah, we were discussing this earlier. It's quite important on the night that people are vocal about how they're feeling at the time, because you might go home and say, I should have said something about this or that or the other.
Share it with your group. If you don't feel stupid, because at the end of the day, we're all there for one reason. We're there to see what's there in the paranormal. And that's the only reason we are there. You could be a skeptic to say, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. You might not be a skeptic at the end of the night. Or vice versa. You might be a true believer and nothing's happened. If you hear something, say it. Tell people. If you feel something, a breath, tell your partner. Tell someone, rather than going home and saying, I should have said this and I should have said that.
Mae gennym ni lot o offer gwahanol o fyma sy'n neud pethau gwahanol. We've got loads of different equipment here, Kev. Can you take us through some of the equipment and what they do? Let's start off with what you've got in your hand there.
In my hand now, there's an iPhone. There's an attachment for an iPhone. It's a FLIR camera. And what this does is it differentiates on a camera between hot and cold. If you can see my hand there now, if you just come through there, you see it glows yellow, it's hot. If it's blue or dark black, that's the cold spots.
So on the night then, if we were to pick something paranormal up, what could we expect visually to see on that then?
I'd expect to see something that is a shadow, as in black, you know, blue to black, probably black. So you'd see it like at the end of a hallway where you can see, if you put your hand down there now, and then you take your hand away, you know, you do it on this.
Yeah.
And then it should leave an imprint. Let's have a look. Can you see that now? Where the heat is? You know? And it's the same way you'll see, you can be looking like that and all of a sudden you'll see some move across. If it's dark, you know it's cold, it hasn't got a temperature. If you see, it could be an animal, and then you'd see the heat difference with an animal. You look at that boiler there. Look how red that is compared to the wall itself.
So moving on to Beaumaris Jail, we could expect the readings on that to show no heat, really. I
would imagine, yeah. If you're gonna, obviously, if it's a spirit, I wouldn't expect it to have a heat signature because we're living per se and they're spiritual. So usually you'd see a dark shadow type thing on the FLIR. You can actually pick it up with your own eyes as well. A lot of people say we've seen a shadow here, we've seen a shadow there, something moved there. Most of the time it's in your peripheral vision, you'll catch it, so you turn, it's gone, it's already too late.
So the idea is that we're using a combination of equipment here, which hopefully gives us a better indication.
Yes, we are using multiple items in our arsenal. We've got such things like the SP11. What this is, they say that the spirits can manipulate the data streams for the RF streams on this. So when it scans through the system, and they say that spirit can use its own power to create words from the bank of scanning data, if you know what I mean. So. And
what sort of experiences have you had using a spirit box in the past then?
It's difficult sometimes to, at that time, to pick a word up. You might hear a word, I don't know, get me or whatever then, but later on it might make sense, if you know what I mean. That's the only thing with it is that sometimes it's too fast. You know, if it slows really down when it's set on a scanning mode and you hear a clear sentence, you know you're onto something. Somebody's trying to get through to something, but sometimes it does not make sense at that time. It might make sense an hour from now, the next day something might happen. Sometimes it's a warning, sometimes it's just a hello, you know, or like we go back to our group when people say something. Sometimes it could be a name that might mean nothing to you, but it could mean something to the person standing next to you.
Before we carry on with the rest of the equipment here, take us through to the room here where we've set up.
Okay.
What?
Well, the thing is, I know what's going to happen now, see. but as memory goes, you can walk in and you think to yourself now, right, hello, is anybody here? And you walk in and...
Oh, nothing?
Oh, it's gone off.
Oh gosh!
Oh,
there you
we
go.
Hey, wait a minute! I did
So just to prove it doesn't just go off, right? It's so what this is. I'll switch this. It's piercing, isn't it? I've switched it off now. So yeah, tell us what that is then, Kev.
Well, this has got a passive infrared sensor on it. So what that does is, if it detects motion, human motion or whatever, or motion at all, it will actually trigger. And the trigger sends a signal to the alarm, which beeps. That'll tell you, especially if you're in a room where you know there's nobody in, and this goes off, there's got to be a reason why that went off. So if you're in the next room, you can come back and investigate this room then to see what the reason was.
So on the night, we'll be setting these up in different rooms, and if we do hear anything, then obviously we'll be going into that room then.
We should not everybody stop what they're doing. We'll send somebody to have a look, see what the reason was, maybe do a little, experiment, do a little EVP, see if anything's gone. If nothing, we'll come back again. And if it goes off again, we'll just pop back in again.
Right then, well, we'll go back through now. Gosh, that was... even though I knew it was there.
Well, it's gone off every single time, isn't it? Yeah, the only time we wanted it to go off, it didn't go off, isn't it? Such is life, yeah.
So there's an interesting thing here. What's this then, Kev?
This is it's used to be like a crystal, and what they say is if it's still and there's no movement at all, if you ask a question, it can use your energy as well as its own energy to rotate this. Sometimes they can swing left and right, sometimes it'll form a circle, and the more you ask it, the more energy you're giving it, and the more feedback you'll get off it. Sometimes it doesn't move at all. It all depends on your inner emotions as well. It depends how badly you want something to happen. Sometimes you have too much emotion, and it's a bit like a feedback. It just don't do it because maybe you've lost a loved one soon, like in the near future. You want to speak to them, but it's just too soon. So you've got too much emotion, and it won't move. Sometimes you might ask it a random question, and off it goes.
So we've got a lot of quite advanced technology here, but we're also going to be using such things as the basic candle now. How does that work?
Well, they say that you can ask a question if you've got a still candle, and obviously there's wind and things, but if there's no wind and you can ask it questions and it'll flicker. And if it flickers enough times, so it's like it's communicating with you, you can say, can you flicker this candle if it's yes? You know what I mean? Or you ask a question, do you always stay here? If it flickers, and if it's no, it'll be no response, rather than is it no and something happens kind of thing. So you can do that as well.
So we've also got these EMF meters. What's an EMF meter do?
These run along the same way as energy word for anything else. You can set this down on the table, and what happens then is you'll set it there and you'll ask yourself, spirit, can you show yourself? Can you come closer to this? And they say that the closer you get and the more of a reaction you get on these lights, you'll know that there's a presence there. And you can use this as well as a communication device. You can say, are you male or female? If you're male, can you light this? And so on and so on. And a lot of people carry these around from room to room, and they'll stand there sometimes and ask us a few simple questions.
So in somewhere like Beaumaris Jail, you wouldn't really expect to pick up electromagnetic fields generally, would you?
Not generally. You will if you're next to some powerful, a meter box or something that's using a lot of power. Microwaves, they set these things go wild. If you've got no power per se, and you're in a cell with a 4-foot thick wall, you don't expect these to go off. Take your phones out, leave your phones where they show, so they're not with them. So then you can, you know that you can't say it's your phone, and you can't say it's somebody else's phone. If you're doing stuff like this, take away all the interference you can get, and then when then that when it goes off, it's a genuine reaction rather than somebody's phone.
And if we do get equipment going off and stuff, we are going to analyse the situation, aren't we, and possibly, consider what could be triggering them off and stuff.
Yes, you don't immediately say this is a ghost.
No.
You know what I mean? Oh yeah, this is a ghost who had contact. Chances are it's not, if you know what I mean. You have to go through it.
And we've also got these. What do these do? Are they clay pigeon shooting?
Well, no, it's beam me up, Scotty. No, what this is, it's a distance temperature gauge, and once you've fired it up, you can see that, it'll show you the temperature there. And if you're standing in a room and someone says to you, I feel it so cold, you know what I mean? And you can point this.
So what you get with them is sometimes in a room you get cold spots, don't you?
You get cold spots, and you can think to yourself, I'm in a corner, I can feel it's cold in a corner. You can press this, and it'll point it where the laser dot is, and it'll tell you the temperature there. If you can see noticeably the temperature going down for no reason whatsoever, you know for a fact there's something in that corner creating that cold spot.
We've also got some surprises for the participants, which we'll keep under wraps for now. After 12 o'clock, we're going to be bringing the surprises out. Maybe that's a clue. I don't know. To come to our last item, then, Kev, what are these?
These are 1,000 rods. Some people say that they can hold. They're on a free turn there, so you can see it. And what they say is the energy between you and the spirits. If you can hold them still, get them steady, then ask a question. If you get a reaction from these 1,000 rods. If you say, if you hear, can you open the 1,000 rods? And they open like that, and you think to yourself, wow, did you see that then? Yeah. And you say, can you close the 1,000 rods? As long as you keep your hands still, please close the 1,000 rods. Look at this. Wow, look at that.
Gosh.
There we go. So you can garner what to do next with something like this. You could walk into an area. Well, let's just say you've had a cold spot. You think, I'll go to that area and I'll stand there and I'll stand still and I'll ask a question. And if these react, along with the other equipment you've got, you know, you've got a better chance of being more, confident that you're having a response from a paranormal.
Well, fantastic, Kev. Thank you very much for the chat. And yeah, really looking forward to
Bring it on
Friday night.